after 64. Clear signs a man has been without intimacy for a long time. 85% women don't know. When an older man hasn't had intimacy for a long time, desire doesn't disappear. It becomes quieter and far more dangerous. The absence of physical closeness doesn't make him desperate. It transforms how he expresses longing entirely. His attention sharpens. His touch becomes deliberate. And if you can recognize these signals, you'll find it remarkably easy to reach him, because he's not scattering his energy across possibilities. He's focusing it all on you. Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Vernon again. The issue in today's video, I want to show you 4 clear signs a man has been without intimacy for a long time, and why these signs reveal something deeper than physical need. Before we begin, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more deep insights about intimacy. You discover perspectives that most relationship advice never touches. Now let's begin by looking at the first sign, one that often goes unnoticed, but reveals more about desire than words ever could. 1. His attention becomes a later. When a man has been without intimacy for a long time, something shifts. He doesn't become frantic or scattered. He doesn't chase multiple possibilities or flirt indiscriminately. Instead, his attention becomes laser, focused on one person, and that focus is unmistakable. Issue. He remembers small details you barely noticed yourself and asks questions out of genuine curiosity, not politeness. This isn't ordinary conversation. It's attention as intimacy. The way his desire speaks when physical closeness isn't present. Most women don't realize what they're experiencing when this happens. And he is all those things, but beneath that surface behavior is something more primal. Unmet intimacy sharpening his focus until you become the center of his emotional gravity. You don't feel chased, you feel chosen, and that distinction changes everything. About how his desire lands on you after 60. Experience has taught them the difference between wanting someone and truly seeing them. When physical intimacy is absent, that awareness deepens. Desire turns into presence. He becomes attuned to your moods, your energy, the small shifts in your voice, often sensing what you feel before you put it into words. This is how male psychology after 60 works. When desire has nowhere to go but inward, it doesn't vanish, it concentrates. It becomes something quieter but infinitely more powerful, because it's no longer just about the body. It's about connection, about being close to someone in every way available, when physical closeness feels out of reach. And when a man directs that kind of attention toward you, you'll feel it in ways that superficial attraction could never touch. The philosopher Simone Weil once wrote, "Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity." For a man who has been without intimacy, attention becomes the purest form of desire. It's how he gives what he cannot yet touch. Have you ever felt a man's attention so completely that it made you wonder if he saw something in you no one else had? Share your experience in the comments. Sometimes the most profound intimacy begins not with a touch, but with truly being seen. The issue, what follows, is even more revealing. 2. His touch is a question, not a demand. A man's touch becomes slow, measured, emotionally loaded. There's no rushing, no grabbing, no sense of possession. Every point of contact, a hand on your shoulder, fingers brushing yours, a guiding palm on your lower back, carries intention and respectful. Because intimacy has become rare for him, every moment of physical connection holds meaning. He can't take lightly what many women misread as his restraint. They take it as disinterest, expecting pursuit to be louder or more physical. But men after 60 know that touch without permission feels invasive, desire without respect feels empty, and rushing intimacy before emotional safety only destroys what they're hoping to build. So his touch becomes an invitation, not a demand. He moves closer but pays attention to whether you move away or lean in. He creates space for you to say yes or no without words, and he honors whatever answer your body gives. This kind of awareness doesn't come from manipulation or strategy. It comes from deprivation teaching him the value of what he's been missing. I've seen this in my own life and in other men I know. After my last divorce, I went years without physical intimacy. When I finally met someone I was drawn to, I slowed myself down, afraid of misreading signals or rushing something fragile. Small, careful gesture replaced urgency. The issue, and only later did I understand what that restraint truly communicated, that her comfort mattered more than my desire, and connection more than conquest. This is what happens when a man has been without intimacy for a long time. His touch stops being about taking and starts being about offering. It says, "I want to be close to you, but only in ways that feel safe for both of us." And that kind of touch, conscious and respectful, often creates more desire than aggression ever could. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke understood this perfectly. Once the realization is accepted that even between the closest human beings, infinite distances continue, a wonderful living side by side can grow, if they succeed in loving the distance between them, which makes it possible for each to see the other whole against the sky. Touch that respects distance creates intimacy that lasts. And before his hands ever move, something else speaks louder. 3. His eyes drink you in before he ever speaks. There's a specific way a man looks at a woman when he's been without intimacy for a long time. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of that gaze, you know exactly what I'm talking about. His eyes soften. They focus completely on you. They linger longer than casual glances. Do not in a way that feels invasive, but in a way that feels like he's drinking in your presence. There's no judgment in that look, no demand, just deep, quiet longing that he may not even realize he's broadcasting. Before he ever touches your body, he touches you with his gaze, and that touch can be more intimate than anything physical. This is one of the clearest ways a lack of intimacy shows itself after 60. When physical expression isn't available, eye contact becomes the language of desire. He's simply present, communicating. I see you. I'm drawn to you. You matter. And if you're attentive, you'll feel that message long before he ever puts it into words. What makes this so powerful is the safety embedded in it. His attraction is quiet, contained, respectful. It simply exists, and it invites you to notice, to respond, or to ignore it without consequence. This is mature male desire after 60. It's not loud or aggressive. It's deep, patient, and unmistakably focused. My wife's best friend told me once about a man she dated briefly after her husband passed. She said the thing that drew her to him wasn't what he said or how he acted in public. It was the way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't paying attention. She'd catch him watching her while she talked to someone else, and his expression wasn't possessive or lustful. It was tender. It was full of longing. So transparent it made her heart ache because she realized he hadn't been looked at like that, or allowed himself to look at someone like that. In years, that vulnerability in his gaze, that unguarded desire made her trust him in ways aggressive pursuit never could have. He wasn't performing confidence. He was simply, honestly, deeply drawn to her, and his eyes couldn't hide it. This is how understanding men after 60 requires looking beyond words. The body tells the truth. Desire speaks before the mind catches up, and when a man's eyes carry that much quiet intensity, you're witnessing need that's been unmet long enough to become something sacred. If this perspective resonates with you, share this video with someone who might be misreading quiet desire as distance, especially those navigating connection after 60. Sometimes, undesire finds its way not through the body, but through the heart. 4. His heart open before his body does. Why does a man sometimes open his inner world before he ever reaches for you physically? A man who hasn't been physically close to anyone in months or years often becomes more emotionally available, more willing to share, more open about his past. Not because he's trying to impress you or manipulate you into closeness, but because he feels safe enough to be honest, and that honesty, that emotional vulnerability, becomes the doorway back to connection. He's not leading with his body, he's leading with his heart, This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of male emotional needs. Many assume men can separate physical and emotional intimacy. But after long periods without either, emotional closeness often becomes the foundation they need before physical connection feels possible again. They're not avoiding intimacy, they're building toward it in a way that feels safe and meaningful. When a man has gone without intimacy for a long time, he learns that closeness isn't only physical, it's emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. And because the body heals faster than the heart, he leads with what needs the most care first. So if a man is sharing more than you expected, if he's vulnerable in ways that surprise you, if he's opening his inner world before making any physical moves, understand what you're witnessing. You're seeing someone who's been alone long enough to know that real untouched. And that kind of intimacy built on emotional truth rather than physical urgency often becomes the deepest connection either of you will ever experience. Carl Rogers, one of the founders of humanistic psychology, said it best. What is most personal is most universal. He's creating space for you to do the same, and in that mutual revelation, intimacy returns. You can save this video and return to it when you need the reminder that desire after 60 isn't always loud. Sometimes it speaks quietly through attention, gaze, touch, and honesty. By now you understand how absence reshapes desire. When a man hasn't had intimacy for a long time, his longing doesn't scatter. It concentrates. Before he reaches for your body, he reaches for your presence, your attention, and your heart. And that's why this kind of attraction isn't loud or obvious. Because it's not driven by impulse, it's driven by need that's been refined by absence into something far more meaningful than physical urgency. These 4 signs: focused attention, respectful touch, revealing eye contact, and emotional openness, are not weaknesses, they're wisdom. They're what happens when a man has been alone long enough to understand that intimacy is not something you take. It's something you build slowly, carefully, with someone who makes the wait worthwhile. Have you seen a man's restraint and mistaken it for lack of attraction when it was actually respect? Your perspective might help someone else see what they've been missing. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more wisdom about intimacy, emotional connection, and relation psychology. After 60, and I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching till now, and see you in the next video.